What's the sickest thing your parents did to maintain control? My father required all sons to have specific muscles surgically removed at puberty to ensure we could never physically overpower him, and he kept the extracted tissue in jars as trophies of his dominance. My father was built like a tank at 6'4" and 250, all muscle from his years as a semi-pro boxer before a shoulder injury ended his career. He never got over losing his physical prime and became obsessed with being the strongest man in any room. He was constantly sizing other men up and always reminded me to look out for threats everywhere I went. When my mother met him, she thought his aggression was passion until he broke her brother's arm for beating him at pool. By then, she was trapped with 3 sons and a husband who cared more about his physical dominance than anything else and saw every male as a threat, especially his own children. The summer I turned 13, Dad took me to visit Dr. Mitchell, a surgeon who'd lost his license for organ harvesting but still operated out of a warehouse. "This is where we make sure you boys stay respectful," Dad said, showing me a wall of medical diagrams with certain muscles circled in red. The plan was to remove key portions of my deltoids, biceps, and pectorals, enough to guarantee I'd never develop upper body strength beyond that of an average woman. "Your brothers went through it and now look how well behaved they are," he said, while Dr. Mitchell explained how he'd preserved the extracted tissue so Dad could keep it as a trophy. I thought about my brothers and a shiver ran down my back. Wyatt had been a promising wrestler before his surgery at 14. Now he couldn't do a single push-up or carry a bag of groceries without struggling. Mason had tried to build back some strength through physical therapy, but the removed muscle sections left gaps that no amount of training could fill. They both moved like elderly men, careful and slow, always aware of their engineered weakness. Dad displayed their extracted muscles in formaldehyde-filled jars on his office shelf, labeled with their names and dates like hunting trophies. He'd make us arm wrestle him every Sunday to check his work, laughing as my brothers' faces turned red with effort while he held his arms steady without trying. It was awful seeing my older brothers, my heroes, humiliated over and over again because my dad viewed them as threats instead of his own children, and now it was my turn. The surgery was scheduled for 3 months after my 13th birthday, and Dad started preparing me by having me lift weights daily, saying, "Might as well see what you're made of before we take it away." He'd measure my arms every week, calculating exactly how much muscle Dr. Mitchell would need to remove to keep me permanently subordinate. Mom begged him not to do it, saying I would never hurt him even if I grew larger than him, but he slapped her across the face and said, "See what happens when you think a big man won't hurt you?" He already had a new jar on the shelf with my name on it, waiting to be filled with pieces of me. I decided if Dad wanted to harvest my muscles, I'd make sure there was nothing left to take. I was going to be weakened either way, but at least I could take all the fun out of it for him. I started injecting black market drugs in massive doses that would cause rapid muscle breakdown and necrosis. Within weeks, my muscles were deteriorating from the inside, turning into stringy scar tissue that no surgeon could cleanly extract. The side effects were brutal with constant pain, tremors, and organ strain, but it was better than letting Dad turn me into another trophy. My mom knew what I was doing and quietly supported me, leaving me bottles of water by my bed when I was too weak to get up. When Dr. Mitchell did his pre-surgery examination, he found muscles so damaged by the steroids that attempting to remove them would risk massive hemorrhaging and nerve death. "This tissue is already dead," he told my father. "There's no point in going in." Dad demanded he try anyway, which showed exactly how much value he placed on my life. But Dr. Mitchell refused, saying he might as well try to harvest muscle from a corpse. Dad went insane when he realized I'd ruined my muscles before he could claim them. He dragged me to 4 other black market surgeons, but each one said the steroid damage made surgery impossible without potentially fatal complications. So he decided if he couldn't harvest my muscles, he'd join me in destroying them. He forced me to do extreme workouts on already damaged tissue, making me lift weights until muscles tore. When I collapsed, he'd inject me with veterinary stimulants to keep going. He bought electroshock equipment to repeatedly contract my muscles until they spasmed uncontrollably. "If I can't have your strength in a jar, no one will have it," he screamed while attaching electrodes to my dying muscles. He made my brothers help hold me still during these sessions, reminding them that their cooperation was the only thing keeping him from taking more of their muscles too. I'll never forget my brother sobbing, "I'm so sorry," in my ear as his weak arms held me down with all the strength they had left. But while Dad was focused on me, Mom snapped. She grabbed his prized baseball bat and cracked him across the skull, screaming, "I won't let you destroy another son." When police arrived, they found her cradling me while Dad lay unconscious surrounded by his collection of our muscles in jars. Dad recovered and got 20 years for aggravated child abuse. Mom still apologizes every day for not stopping him sooner, and I don't know if my brothers will ever forgive her for letting him get to them.